So last weekend, I was unable to give you an episode because I was literally in the thick of it with exams. That exam is out of the way, and I'm happy to tell y'all that I passed. Yes, I passed. What that means for you, though, and why this is important for me to share, is that you can't just call me Tinto anymore. When you say Tinto, you gotta put some respect on my name. Add my designation, which is CIPT. And whilst you're at it, I'm literally begging you, just don't be that guy. Don't go trying to Google what that is. Just don't be that guy. Just be happy for a brother, okay? With that out of the way, let's get into this episode, shall we? Hey, what's happening? This is your host Tinto, and before we get started on this weekend's episode, I'd like to give a shout out to everybody that got me coffees, starting with you, the amazing, wonderful, and consistent supporter Chitire Bogus with the standard gift. Thank you so much. And then somebody who was anonymous decided to give me 5 solid coffees. And your comment there is thank you for all the laughs and lessons. Keep bringing us content. I shall surely do that, and you keep supporting. Thank you so much. Then last but not least, Audrey Ords got me another good set of coffees. And she goes, from one of your biggest supporters from day one of the podcast. I appreciate the support. If you'd like to do the same, please head over to www.buymeacoffee.com/feeding station and give as your spirit leads. Remember, there is nothing that is too small to support the podcast that you've grown to love. With that out of the way, let's dip straight into this weekend's episode.
Is that a breakup? I think we have a situation right here. On the Feeling Station.
Hello.
Hey, what's happening?
Not much. How are you?
I'm doing exceptionally well. Thanks for asking. I'm usually a lot more organized than I've been today. It's ridiculous. It's one of them crazy days, but you're just about to make it even more exciting. So thank you very much in advance.
I hope so.
Welcome to the Feeling Station.
Thank you.
For those who are listening to this podcast for the first time, it touches on breakup stories that people would like to talk about with a view to give you lessons from my guest's experience. And one of the reasons why the podcast is doing great is that I do my best to keep my guests anonymous, which brings me to the fun part. The part where we talk about your name. Are you ready for this one?
I don't know. Fire away.
So I've headed over to West Africa, and your name is from Nigeria. Okay. And it's Abimbola. Mouthful. Abimbola. 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 Well, I hope I'm saying it right. And what that means is rich child.
Oh, I like that. I like it.
So I'm speaking wealth and prosperity into your life.
I receive.
You receive, yeah. And what would you like to call... Well, I don't know whether you want to shorten that or you want to keep it as Abimbola. Are you going to remember that?
Probably Bola.
Yeah, Bola?
Be a bit
cool.
Easier to remember. But then again, my memory is that of a goldfish. So yeah, we'll see how this goes.
I got my fingers crossed for you and for the episode. So you're Bola. And what are you calling the name of the person that you're talking about today?
I should have thought about this in advance, shouldn't I?
Yeah, something like that. And you can't even tell me I didn't have ample time. We spoke yesterday, all right? So you had enough time. No excuses here.
Okay, let's go with Charlie.
Charlie, yeah? Just Charlie?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just Charlie.
Awesome. So this is a story about Bola and Charlie.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Charlie comes from, there's a friend of mine who just did not bother learning Charlie's name. And just for one reason or another, just felt that he was meant to be a Charlie and called him Charlie throughout the time that I was in this relationship. So yeah, that's where Charlie came from.
Wow, I like the sound of that. It's a name with a real meaning behind it.
Yeah.
Awesome. And the second reason why the podcast is doing great is that they're real life lessons that people are going to learn from the story that you're going to talk about, Bola. So, What lessons do you have ready for us? What would you like people to learn from your story?
I think the biggest lesson that I learned from this was take note of the inconsistencies and the consistencies. Just, take note of those. Those tell you a lot about your relationship.
Wow. So take note of both consistencies and inconsistencies because they tell you a lot about the relationship.
Yep.
Okay, nice. You got another one?
Yeah, I'd say patterns speak louder than words.
Yeah. I like that a lot. Because I like the spin on it, because normally we hear that actions speak louder than words, but you've given it a
Yeah.
bit of a twist and say, patterns speak louder than words. And it couldn't be
Yeah.
more real.
Yeah, because actions do speak louder than words, but
Yeah.
sometimes an action is a one-off.
No, yeah.
If it's a pattern, it's
Yeah.
definitely saying something that the words aren't.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I couldn't agree with you more on that. Do you have a third lesson by any chance?
I do.
Let's hear it.
Know what you want and who you are, and don't compromise on that.
Ooh, okay.
So I guess it's just kind of similar to what other people have said before.
Yeah.
Yeah, know you have your values. Yeah, know why you have those values and stick to those.
But the funny thing is, it's not very easy knowing what you want, which is why we end up in the mess that we do in the first place.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So there's a learning curve in there somewhere, and I'll be interested to see how yours came to fruition. What you learned that got you to the point that makes you say you need to know what you want. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Got a fourth?
No, I don't have a fourth,
okay.
but there'll be plenty of lessons throughout.
Of course.
trust me.
Yeah, you never know. There might be one that will creep out of the woodworks as we're speaking anyway.
Yeah.
So I'll just play those back. Lesson number 1, take note of the consistencies and inconsistencies because they tell you a lot about the relationship. Yep. Lesson number 2, patterns speak louder than words. That's got to be my favorite so far. And then number 3, know what you want and who you are and don't compromise on that. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah. Let's get into it, Bola. So where did you meet Charlie and why did you feel this is the guy for me?
Just to let you know, you're going to have a lot of editing to do because every time you say Bola, I'm thinking, who is he talking to?
Better get used to it, girl.
Yeah, we'll get there.
All right.
So, where did this all start? Around 2012, summer of 2012, I'd say.
That's a whole 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Talk about a throwback.
Yeah. It spanned over like 5 years. So, yeah,
right.
It was a huge chunk of my life.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So, we met through a friend. So, this, I'd just gone through a messy breakup. Well, not messy, but just a very dramatic breakup.
Why are you not telling me that one?
You know what? But we could link them because people happen to know each other. And,
Oh, do they?
Yeah. Yes.
This sounds dirty already.
But yeah, with that one, just to give you a little snippet of the previous relationship, met this guy in church. Had a very private relationship because I'm just generally a very private person. So didn't really think much about it in terms of, let's keep this very private. And I was like, yes, absolutely. Up for that. Anyway, turns out he was still planning on getting back with his ex. Got back with his ex while we were still together.
Eesh.
I found out when we were all on a trip, like, obviously because it's church stuff, you all go on a trip as youth, and these people are just holding hands, walking around together. I'm just thinking, what?
So they're holding hands in front of you?
Oh, yes. Like, literally every time was not even there.
Wow.
And me being the person that I am, I just pretended I saw nothing.
No, man. Why?
But I had gone there with this guy.
You see, Bola, here's the problem, right? This is where your problem already begins. You can't be dropping things like that, and yet this is not even the relationship we're talking about.
No, I mean, that one was just like a short, 4 months.
Because I am so tempted to go into the detail, but I know what it'll do to our time. So at this point, you need to make a conscious decision whether or not you want to give me the details of what I'm about to ask, or you just want me to focus on the 2012 one.
Okay.
What do you want me to do?
I think we should focus on the 2012 one.
I know, but you dropped a juicy one.
No.
Okay. Let me just ask one question.
Let me 5 minutes.
I'll just ask one question. Just one question. Yeah?
Yeah.
You are at a youth trip with your boyfriend who is holding hands with his ex in front of you and you play blind.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand your reasoning and logic behind that, because the normal thing for someone like me to do would be to go and say, hey, what's up? This is my person. What's going on here? Why didn't you do that?
I am not a fighter. I just accept people as they are. That this
Mm-mm.
person has brought
Mm-mm.
this. What am I fighting for in that
No,
situation? This
no.
person is blatantly disrespecting. I'm just like, why? Why am I stressing?
No,
Why
nobody's
cause a scene?
yours.
Because and the other thing is, women are always seen as these dramatic, at the end of that story would not have been this guy cheated and then the girls got into a fight and blah, blah, blah. It would just be about the girls and this ex that is just not wanting to let go and is now fighting with this guy and the new girlfriend and blah blah blah. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be in that story.
If he was your husband doing that, would you have fought? Would it have been a different story altogether?
I would have, but I still would have waited till we get home.
Okay. You've teased me on this one, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Anyway,
we
okay.
can do another episode.
Yeah, no, I think so. And I think everybody listening is saying exactly the same. We're gonna have to come and revisit this one, okay?
Okay, we will revisit.
All right. So you met him. You met Charlie whilst stuff was coming to an end with this ex.
No, it had completely ended. So
Oh, it
this
had
was
ended?
after.
Okay.
So maybe like
Yeah,
a month or so after that very dramatic breakup.
Okay.
And yeah, so a friend of mine had been like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to this church. Do you want to come with me?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm very spontaneous. Just call me in the morning, be like, "Let's go over there." I'm like, "Okay, let's go."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we went to this church. She was like, "Oh, I've got this friend so and so who goes to this friend Charlie who goes to this church." So yeah, Charlie invited me and said I should come over. I haven't seen him in ages, so let's go. I'm like, "Okay, sure." We went there. Charlie seemed like a nice guy. I really was not. It wasn't an immediate. Oh yeah, he's good looking or anything like that. I was just like, yeah, man. Okay, next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were in a funny space anyway because you just left something, so men weren't really at the forefront of your mind.
Yeah, definitely not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you all have gone and you've met Charlie, and then.
Yeah. So as we're talking, Charlie talks about this Bible study group that he goes to every week, like one evening during the week. And then as we're talking, he discovers that I live on his way to the Bible study. And he's like, "Oh, actually, are you free on this particular evening? We could go to the Bible study together. I could pick you up on my way." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I don't mind. Sure. Let's do that."
Is this picking you up with a car or you guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
As in with a car. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I met him, and that's how the friendship began with the going to Bible study together.
It's nice that you call it a friendship. So the foundation sounds like it was right in that he was your friend first before anything.
Yeah.
So how did things change from being friends to boyfriend and girlfriend?
So I think for about a year or so, he'd pick me up, we'd go Bible study, we'd go different events. He sang and he was like, "Oh, I heard you sing in a Bible study. Do you want to join these people that I sing with and we can sing?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. I love singing. I mean, you may have to teach me a hell of a lot of stuff, but I can produce a note tune." Yeah. So yeah, started singing with him and his friends. They eventually became my friends as well. So it was just that friendship grew that way. But as time went on, people just started saying, "Are you guys together?" Because the way that Charlie looks at you, the way he goes on and on about you being this perfect girl and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what, me? As far as I see, Charlie is just extra friendly with everybody. So I have not assumed my position anywhere.
Bola, just wait. Are you sure you're not seeing a glitter in Charlie's eye when he talks to you? Or you're choosing to ignore it?
Do you know what? I think it was a mixture of choosing to ignore it because I did have my questions in terms of, does he like me or is he just very friendly? Because Charlie is just one of those people he's very loud, very center of attention kind of person, speaks to everybody. So I'm just like, you know what? He seems like a nice person. I wouldn't say no if this progressed anywhere, but I don't know if he feels that way at all.
So you were playing this in your mind to say that he would be a nice boyfriend?
Yeah.
Does that mean you were attracted to him now at this point without him having said anything?
Yeah, I was starting to be attracted to the person that he was because at that point he was just the lovely church guy. You know, the guy that your aunties and your parents, everyone dreams that you end up with.
So why was it surprising when this news was now coming that he's got an eye for you? You should have been like, oh, really? He, does he? Because you are saying to yourself already, I wouldn't mind if he's checking me out. And here he is checking you out. If I was a girl, I'd be like, oh, okay. This might happen. Why are you going the other direction?
No, I mean, it did excite me when other people are like, oh, he's saying all of this stuff. I'm like, oh, really? It was exciting.
So why did you hide that excitement initially? What are you trying to hide about yourself?
Because, I don't want to get excited about a relationship and then it doesn't happen. About a potential is what I don't want to get excited about.
So is it fear of disappointment?
I think so. And I'm just generally a person who, when I'm amongst people who are not in my inner circle,
yeah,
I just am not fully myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were allowing yourself to warm up to it without being rushed into it, because like you're saying, if you're around a group of people, you're not out there until you settled.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're waiting to get settled within yourself before you allowed yourself to feel certain things.
Yeah, absolutely. And to get a bit more clearer signs from him.
Okay.
Like I say, I don't want to get excited about potential because it's just that, potential. It can be nothing.
So it sounds to me eventually you guys became boyfriend and girlfriend. So a sign was given that was clear. How was this sign delivered?
So he just started saying these things himself in terms of we'd be driving somewhere and he'd be like, you know what, you would be the perfect wife because you could. Oh, yes. Another detail that I forgot, I guess. I bake a lot and he prefers home baked stuff. So things like bread and all of that. So he started ordering bread for me for that whole year and a half that we were friends before anything happened. He weekly would come and pick up a loaf of bread.
Nice.
From me.
You said ordering. Did you charge him?
Yeah. You gotta get the bag.
So at this point, he's supportive of your business.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah, and that's not a thing that friends tend to do, or people
of course,
that you know.
Yeah. It's normally strangers that support your business the most.
Absolutely.
It's not those in your close circle that do that. So nice. Okay, so he's supporting you with your business. He's starting to take you on trips, and as you guys are driving, he's mentioning, oh, you'd make a good wife. Is this because you're homely and you're baking and cooking a lot?
Yeah, and those are the things, because he's very much a preacher, singer, the typical people are like, you should be a pastor kind of guy. And so he's like, you would make the perfect pastor's wife. So I start slowly but surely get excited, oh, okay, now he's saying it to me.
You see, now I need to bring this whole pastor's wife thing into context, because if I don't know if you're at the stage in your listening to the podcast where I think about 3 episodes ago, this girl was really dying to be a pastor's wife because her parents were pastors and she admired that sort of thing. And the guy that she was dating was singing, he was a youth leader, and that was attractive. Are these characteristics
of that podcast?
Oh my gosh!
Looking forward to
when you get to that episode, you're gonna be like, "Whoa!" So my question really is: Charlie, being the person that he was in the church and the influence that he had with his voice and leadership, etc., was that attractive to you?
Yeah, definitely.
Before he said he liked you, was it attractive to you?
I'm a person I'm not really a go-getter kind of person. So I am attracted to people who are go-getters, people that know what they want. So for me, that was I really like that. And that's the common trait. When I look at past relationships in terms of looks, anything, the only thing that I have in common in terms of all of my relationships, I've dated people that are go-getters, people that know what they want in terms of plan for family, future, their businesses, or employment, whatever it is, people that are go-getters and very driven.
Now, when this attraction is being driven by all this stuff, especially in Charlie's case, did it ever cross your mind that potentially there are other women who are exactly like you, drawn by the same thing, putting you at risk of being more than just the only one?
Absolutely, which is why I didn't want to get excited, because I'm like, you know what, there's always so many women around this person. Literally any of them could be an interest for him. And for me, I'm like, well, a lot of them sing a lot better than I do. I mean, I don't know about their homely cooking and whatever skills or anything else like that, but I was like, you know what? There's so many potentials for him. So let me not get myself too excited, and then he'll walk in with his girlfriend 2 weeks later.
So, what is it about you that you're very confident of that could have been the distinguishing factor between you and other girls? Because I'm trying to fish out what your real strength would have been that would have locked this in and make you the candidate of choice. Because you've already mentioned there are a lot of girls that sang better than you did. What did you have better of other women?
My assumption is that the home life, in terms of being very domesticated, was my upper hand.
But how would you measure that against other girls when they're not living in the same house with you?
That's the thing, that it was just an imagination that I'm sure I would hear about. Because this is the thing, Charlie, like I said, Charlie spoke a lot, a very loud person, shared everything about everything. So I'm like, surely if there was somebody else amongst these females that are always flocking around him that baked, that
I see.
sewed,
He
that
would have
did
said
all of these things, I would have heard about them.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
So I was like, okay, I'm not hearing anything about anybody else. Let me hope I've got the upper hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So did he ask you out? Or you guys just became an... Oh, he did? Nice. Tell me about that.
He did. So he had started like taking me out in terms of like, we go somewhere and then we'd be like, oh, on the way back, let's go get food. But it would be very date-like. It would be, let's drop everybody else off, then we go out to eat. Even if there were other people that we had left with, we'd drop them all off. I was always the last person to be dropped off. Even with people that lived a little bit closer to him, I was always the last one to be dropped off. And it would be, what are you doing on Sunday? Yeah. Actually, when I pick up the bread, do you want to go out and grab something to eat? Just little, started becoming a lot more frequent in terms of, let's go out to eat. Let's do this together. Or what are you doing on this day? Let's spend time together. Yeah, so one of the days he was like, I really like you, and I think that you and I are very compatible. I think we would work really well. I enjoy your company. Would you be my girlfriend?
Ooh, nice.
Like, what? Me?
There's that surprise again. Me? What?
Yeah, I'm like, me? I was hoping for it, but me?
Yeah. Right? So, is it one of those ways that I gotta go home and think about it, or you're like, yeah, that's cool?
No, I'm not one of those people. I'm like, if I want this, I want this. Let's go for it.
There was nothing to think about. You're like, okay, cool.
Nope. I was like, I have been observing you. I'm one of those people, I sit in the background quiet and watch. So I'm like, yeah, I've been seeing you. I like you. I think this could work. Let's do it.
Now, how quick was it between him saying that did you guys sharing your first kiss?
It was actually quite a while because part of that whole...
Really? That's not the answer that I was expecting. Because the thing is, it sounds to me like you guys were simmering under and you guys already liked each other. It was just a question of him formalizing it. And I thought, because look, man, you've been seeing each other for over a year already. He's dropping you off irregularly. He's taking you out to dates. You know, if he's a guy like me, every time that is out on a date with you, she's feeling stuff and is feeling nice.
Yeah.
And one of the things that would just make it even better would be to lock it in with a kiss at some point. But sounds like yours took a while. How long are we talking? Okay, let's just talk. Was it days?
No, I would say maybe like a month or so.
Your way.
Yeah, he took his time because part of our discussion about our relationship and where we are going is this is not going to be a very long courtship. And we want to...
So start kissing early, innit?
We want to save sex and stuff like that till marriage. So we're like, yeah, let's not light a fire that we cannot, see through to the end.
By this point, was he a virgin?
No. We had both discussed that we were both not virgins, but we are both trying a whole new path in life.
So if you knew that you're going to get married, why wait till marriage to unleash the dragon?
I guess it's just waiting for that commitment that, it's not just with anyone. We're not yet married. At this point, we're courting to see whether we will make it to marriage. As far as we're concerned, yes, we will, but we're not there yet, so we don't know whether we will make it there.
So we are talking about not lighting fires that we can't quench.
Yeah.
But a month after, somebody picked up a matchstick.
Yeah.
And you kissed.
And lit that fire. Yeah, we kissed.
Why did you guys do it? Before you were married?
Well, I don't know. It was just one of those things. This is the thing when I say take note of the consistencies and inconsistencies.
Mm-hmm.
This is when small things start happening in terms of, but we said, how come we are now doing this or whatever?
Yeah.
So little things like that then start coming out in terms of inconsistencies and
So let's direct this at you because a
yeah.
kiss doesn't happen with one pair of lips.
Oh no,
It
definitely not. I
happens with
mean,
two. So what was happening with what was triggering your inconsistencies? Why did you suddenly change your tone about that?
because I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I am a human being. I am red-blooded, and I was not a virgin at the time. Not that I am now, but yeah, I was not a
I
virgin.
like how you said
I'm like at the time. I'm like as if I am now. All of a sudden.
that took a sec to drop in my head. But that is brilliant. Man, I hope people in the audience caught that. But that was hella funny. Yeah, nice one, Bola, nice one. Okay, yeah, okay, so you're red blooded, you get hot. You're basically
Yeah,
saying that you had sexual feelings.
yeah, definitely. Because for me, that connection had been building for it was well over a year.
That's
Like,
why I was asking you how long you guys took to kiss because it's been building
yeah.
for a blooming year.
Yeah, so it did take us a while, but we did eventually get to the point of kissing. But then after that kiss, because that kiss was so passionate, we were just like, okay, we need to put the brakes on because exactly what we said we wanted to avoid
Yeah.
nearly happened because of that one kiss.
Would you guys have been disappointed if it had happened?
I definitely would not.
You know what the follow-on question is, right?
No? What is it?
So why did you stop it?
I guess, like I said, with the other lesson, you've got your principles, you've got your goals, you've got your plans, you know who you are, you know why you've planned on this. So stick to what you have planned.
But what you've planned is already broken by the kiss.
Yeah, but then just because you make a little mistake here doesn't mean let's go all the way.
Well, the last question before you continue with your story. This is a
Yeah.
yes or no question, by the way. Did you guys eventually have sex then?
Yeah, we did.
So what you're saying means nothing previously.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing that you slowly but surely break down the wall of who you are and your principles.
Okay.
The wall doesn't crumble with one thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's the plenty blows that
there's a
will push
series.
that
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which is why you just don't start hammering at it in the first place.
Yeah. No pun intended, huh? This Bola. Okay, right. Back to the story. So you guys are now an item, clearly boyfriend and girlfriend. And it sounds to me like you're a happy couple.
Yeah, it definitely started off as a very happy relationship. And yeah, things were going really well. Then I started noticing things, which I was like, oh, maybe it's just, differences in how people are raised and what people think and what people value and sort of that kind of stuff.
Differences like what?
I don't know whether I'd say differences, but just sort of differences in interpretations of things. So he would mention his ex quite a lot. And I'm like, well, you know what? Some people just don't understand this whole don't mention your ex at all in a relationship. Well, not don't mention them at all. As in, you have that discussion. Why did you break up? And, why do you think you're ready for a relationship now and all of that jazz? But, there's those kind of discussions. Then there would be little things like when he's done something and I'm quite upset, then he'd be like, you know what? I don't know how to deal with this because you hold on to things a little bit and you're miserable for a little while. And, I don't know how to deal with it because my ex, she was just this really smiley person. She used to smile all the time.
Come
and
on,
stuff.
Charlie.
So I don't know. Yeah.
Jeez. One of the questions I was going to ask was how did he talk about his ex? But you just saying that already makes me realize her name was too close to the tip of his tongue.
Way too close. Yeah, so he'd mentioned the ex that, you know what, she was just a really happy, bubbly person and stuff. And I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do about that? Yeah, but those are things that I just kind of thought and didn't say out loud. But those were the
You
little
see,
subtle nuances of sort of emotional abuse within the relationship.
Your lesson number 2 is patterns speak louder than words.
Yeah.
I'm picking up a pattern as far as you're concerned.
Yeah.
So
being quiet.
When you saw your ex walking hand in hand, you kept quiet.
Yep.
This guy is saying stuff, you're keeping quiet.
Yep.
Why do you avoid confrontation?
You know what? I don't know. I think it's the family that I grew up in. My family are just such peaceful people that I don't know how to deal with confrontation. Like me, as avoidant of confrontation as I am, if you ask my family, I am the most confrontational of the lot.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, we're so peaceful. I can remember friends of mine, while my sister and I were having an argument, which we felt was a heated argument. We're like, oh my gosh, that is the most peaceful argument I've ever witnessed.
Wow. No, that speaks, testament to your upbringing.
Yeah. So that's what I've assumed.
Yeah. Okay. No. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah. So this guy is starting to say a lot of stuff, that you obviously don't like.
Yeah.
And it's happening way too often and too easily.
Yeah. And then there's other things that start happening. Mm-hmm. Things like randomly he buys me a skipping rope and suggests that, you know what, maybe exercise is good. Bear in mind, I was a size 8, flat stomach, perkiest boobs ever. Like, there was nothing wrong with my body in terms of I was not overweight or anything. But, buys me a skipping rope. He was like a gym freak, used to go to the gym all the time. And I was thinking, at that point, I thought to myself, oh, maybe he's just kind of like, okay, start slow. Then maybe as a couple, we can start going to the gym together, couples goals, you see people posting things on Instagram. And I was like, okay. It's only later on when I start evaluating the relationship and things that happened. I'm like, wow.
So what was his ex like? Was she fit?
No, actually, she was not. Which is the thing that made me wonder, like, okay, it can't really be a thing about size and weight and stuff.
But how did you know what his ex looked like?
Oh, I guess church circles are very small, unfortunately. Okay. So this is somebody that I had met before and I knew about. So I knew exactly what she looked like. I've had conversations with her in the past, sort of church youths from sort of similar areas. You will see each other, you will bump into each other. Yeah.
Mad. Okay. So I get that bit now. So you start seeing, he's just busy dropping hints that I don't even know whether he was calling you fat, because size 8 to me is nowhere near fat.
I was tiny. I'm like, what is this guy? I mean, now I'm a size 14 and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah. I'm happy with the way that I am. But then I look back and I'm like, my issue with thinking, oh my goodness, I need to wear like Spanx, like tummy controlling type stuff, started at that point.
And what else was he now saying to you in addition to that?
Some of the things weren't said. Things like whenever I became the one who visited the most. Ooh. So like in terms of him coming to my house was usually just pick you up on the way to Bible study or pick you up on the way to whatever event we're going to, or whether we're going to sing somewhere or whatever. That's what it became. And I would, in terms of us spending time together, I would be the one getting the train to go to his.
Okay. This is starting to feel quite one-sided.
Yeah. It became very one-sided.
And then what happened?
Well, that became our life in terms of I would go and visit, I would get to his house. He lived with his brothers. He's got 2 brothers. And I would get there, I would clean, I would cook, the brothers were just like, my guy, you have never in your life dated a woman like this one. Do not let go of this one. And the more that his brothers sort of said how he had sort of won in that situation, that he's the one who was getting the better deal, the less sort of interested he became, I think. I don't know. That's what I attributed it to. So I don't know whether that was a thing for him, that he needed to be the prize.
So You know, you've got the perfect opportunity to say how you're feeling about this. But I'm guessing you
We've already
didn't.
established that. No, I mean, as time went on, there would be things that I would say and be like, do you realize that that is something that is emotionally abusive?
Yeah.
And then he'd be like, what? No, you're taking it out of context. You're thinking that I mean this and blah, blah, blah. He's a talker. He's somebody who can escape anything with his mouth and also gets into a lot of trouble because of his mouth. But yeah, definitely a talker, can get himself out of any sticky situation with words.
That's crazy. You know, you guys are pretty much polar opposites because he can talk himself out of a situation. You can't really say stuff
Yeah.
to get yourself out of a situation. So I can almost start to feel what you started feeling. You started feeling you couldn't be yourself, you couldn't express yourself. And the more he was being encouraged that, you know, you've done the best, you are starting to withdraw, everything is starting to head downhill.
Yeah.
What took you guys towards rock bottom?
Yeah. So, on one of the, we start like having these arguments where I start then challenging him in terms of the things that he says. I found a voice somewhere. And I'm like, you know what? I work with, well, at that point in time, I was a student, but working within sort of the field that I was studying in. And I'm like, you know what? A lot of the time in my line of work, I come across a lot of women who are victims and children who have witnessed domestic abuse. The things that you say to me sometimes are really emotionally abusive. And he just felt that, you know what, I'm just picking at him. I'm just not this. I've just become this really miserable person. And there's nothing that he does that is right. And then he was like, okay, let's call it quits. We have to break up.
Just like that.
Yeah. He was just like, you know what, you're just miserable. And
so you challenge a man once, and the solution to the problem is calling it quits.
Yeah. Bear in mind, we've gone through like, I think maybe 2-3 years of me never challenging any of his nonsense.
Wow.
So as it's building up, he's then saying, you are just this miserable person. You're just finding fault in everything that I do.
Wow. Talk about a huge sign of weakness.
Yeah.
From him.
Yeah.
So you guys break up?
Yeah.
And you allow the breakup?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not really one to fight.
How deep in love were you here?
I'm a firm believer in, you know what, if somebody wants to leave, let them leave. You can't force somebody to love you. You can't force somebody to be with you. You can't force anybody else to do anything. So if somebody says to you, okay, I think this is it, let them go. You just let them know that, you know what, I don't feel the same way. I still love you. I still want this relationship to go forward, but I cannot force you to be with me. So the door is over there.
Eish. Okay. So you walk. I mean, I'll come back to that at some point because I feel I need to say something about that sort of timid fighting spirit and keeping it in check. Because I don't believe anything great has been built without a fighting spirit. Because that fighting spirit is what feeds determination. Determination is what gets you result.
Absolutely. I can agree with that now, but I've done a lot of growing since then.
Yeah, of course. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So he then he walks off, he leaves the relationship. You guys don't strike me like that was it.
Of course that was not it.
Tell me how things went.
So yeah, we break up. Within days, he's calling. He's like, yeah, you know what? We just need to work on things. Let's work on things. Let's see how it goes. So we get back together. And then when we've gotten back together, this is when things, go south in terms of our values and things that we decided that we are not going to do.
What got you guys back together in the first place?
He was just like, you know what, maybe, we ended things a bit abruptly. We need to fight for.
Why is he saying we?
Because somehow he just doesn't take ownership of anything fully. If something is wrong, it's because you drove him to do that.
I am so tempted to call this guy something, but I'm biting my tongue. And I've been doing so well so far, okay? But I don't know how long I can still. For now, I'll call him a wuss, right? Because one, you're given heat by somebody who's been quiet for 2 years, and the first thing you do is leave, right?
Yeah.
You call it quits. And then when you decide to reconcile, you don't use I in your conversation, you use we.
Yeah.
So that you don't have a finger pointing at you for making a huge mistake and being a poor judge of character and being irresponsible in your relationship.
Yeah.
I don't like where this is going. But yeah, go on. So you guys get back together. He says we didn't fight. We ended things abruptly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, we get back together. This was around Christmas time. And Christmas time, in terms of things like Bible study and all of that, things wouldn't, those would stop because people would go on holiday. The students around the area would go back home and all of that. But I stayed because I was working, and he lived in that area anyway. And he was like, oh, my brothers have gone to their respective girlfriends' houses for Christmas and stuff. Why don't you come over after work? And yeah, we can hang out. I was like, yeah, sure. So that's when I went over. We were just talking. He decides to kiss me. I didn't stop him. One thing led to another. The next thing, we had sex for the first time. And we were just like, yeah, that's so that. Yeah. And that was just the beginning of it. At that point, we were just like, why are we stressing ourselves? Let's just continue. And that was, we just continued. There was no restrictions in place for a while. Well, actually, I'm skipping a little bit. I should bring it back a little bit.
Because you're remembering how good it was and you went straight into that. You're forgetting all of the details.
No, the thing is, I'm forgetting some of the stuff that will make you realize the lessons.
Yeah.
So after that initial time, we were like, oh, we shouldn't have done that.
How long had this been, by the way, since you guys had got into a relationship?
Maybe, since the relationship started, maybe like a yearish.
Wow.
Yeah, we'd gone quite far.
Yeah, no, you did well, guys. You did really well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, after that initial time, he's like, oh yeah, no, we shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, yeah, we did agree. We should stick to the things that we've agreed. Then he says, we need space from each other, time to like fast and pray. We can't talk to each other for the next week. And I'm like, okay, I was not thinking along those lines, but sure. Okay, if it will help you. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we don't talk for a week. And then we start talking again after the week. And he's like, yeah, no, the fire's kind of died down. Sure, we'll be fine. But then obviously the fire doesn't die down. The next time we see each other and we're alone in the house, it happens again. And that pattern repeats itself.
Yeah.
And yeah, after a while, it just became forget the week of not talking and trying to, I don't know what, achieve what. But then that week, instead of being the punishment for us slipping up and eventually having sex, became the punishment for if we have an argument, we need some time apart. We don't talk.
This guy has really got no balls, eh?
Yeah.
Because I'm finding it too easy for him just to up and leave and quit. Call something quits. Boom, I'm out.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. For a woman, isn't that unattractive?
Do you know what? It is. When I think about it now and I think of how the relationship went, I'm like, why? Why were you there for that long? But I think also there was a level of, I don't know, desperation, pressure, and all of that in terms of societal pressure in terms of getting married. And wow, I've met the guy that everyone is like, oh my gosh, you're so lucky to be with him, kind of. Yeah. So you're like, okay, let's see how this goes.
So how does it go then?
Well, so he decides to study, that he's going to go back to uni and he's going to study. And he picks a place that's like rather far. I mean, we were in London at this time, so there were plenty of universities that he could have chose
Yeah.
in and around London.
Yeah.
He chose to go to Leeds.
Oh, wow. Way up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I started having some questions because there were other friends sort of within like Bible study, church and stuff, some of the female friends that I felt like were a bit too close for comfort. Any of my sort of challenges on that in terms of your friendships are really interesting and I think some of them are a bit too close for comfort was it was just about my insecurity and, his position in church is that he speaks to quite a lot of youth. He may as well be like a youth pastor type of thing. So, he's going to talk to a lot of people. These people confide in him. This is why he seems to speak to them so often and all of that jazz. Yeah. But I was starting to feel like, I don't know. I feel like you're gaslighting me.
And these are women?
Yeah. Majority of the people that he spoke to in his so-called youth, support kind of capacity were female.
So how would you know he's talking to these people, by the way? Because you're in two different locations now, aren't you?
Oh no, this is before he moved.
Okay,
so this
right.
is why I'm then leading up to the move.
Oh yes. Gotcha.
So when he moved, when he was now talking about moving, I then discovered that there is this other young lady that he's been talking to.
How did you make that discovery?
In his apparently, do you know what? He wasn't a very private person. So in terms of things like his friends and everybody knew where he was going, why he was going there and all of that. So his friend says to me that, oh, he's been talking to so-and-so who goes to this uni quite a lot. At that point, I was like, who goes to which uni? Yeah, this is before he made it public in terms of where he was planning to go. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I ask about this person and it's just kind of brushed off again about me being insecure and why would he shift his whole life for this one person? I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Sure. Yeah. And then he moves. And when he's moved, I drive. At that point, I had a car. I used to drive and see him every other week. Every other weekend I spent in Leeds. And, you start to think to yourself, these people see me all the time. They know I live in London. They know I stay over till Sunday. They know who I am. Surely none of them, there's nothing going on with any of them. Yeah, because he's not hiding who he's with or anything. I was starting to think, okay, no, I can be comfortable. He's not hiding me. But he was very adamant. Like, after he moved to Leeds, he was very adamant about things like social media. We'll take pictures and he'd be like, you know how I hate things going on social media. Please make sure that those pictures go on social media.
He's like,
don't go on. Please make sure those pictures don't go on social media. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm there and I used to ask him, I'm like, sorry, you know the person that I am. In this whole time that we've been together, I have never put a picture up of you or anything when I'm with you.
So am I going to start
social
today?
Media? Why the sudden change? Why are you so worried about it all of a sudden? And he's just like, no, I'm not worried about it. I'm just, just pointing it out in case you decide that you want to put this on social media and stuff. And I'm just like, okay. So with all of that, I then start questioning and sort of fighting against him quite a lot. I then found my voice, a very loud one.
but why were you suddenly now questioning that?
Because we were now like 4 years in. So it's like 4 years later. So this is like now 2016. And I'm like, sorry, we've been talking about we want to get married. There's nothing that's moving. Yeah. There's all of these people. There's you, number one, moving mad. There's all of these women around you moving mad. No, I've wasted enough of my life. I need to know where this is going.
So you say the women are moving mad. How did you know they were moving mad? What did you see?
There's so many of his friends who would put pictures up and they're just like, oh, Bible study with so-and-so. But then you're both sitting on the sofa. You're under the same blanket. You're sitting in the one corner of the sofa, both of you. Like, really?
And this is posted on social media?
Yeah. Some of them, at one point, this is somebody who would never put me on any social media platform whatsoever. Put a picture of him and his so-called friend, female friend, on his WhatsApp picture. And I asked him about that, and he's just like, oh, she's just really going through a hard time. You know, we were talking about this during our Bible study and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so if she's going through a hard time, what's that got to do with a WhatsApp profile picture? It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, so at that point, I'm just like, you know what? Nope, I cannot live like this. I cannot live my life wondering who is where, what's going on. So his brother got married that year. So we all go to the wedding. And his ex was also family friends with them and stuff. So the ex was there and her family were there. There was, some of the other girls who I was like, were there as well because they're, all family friends. That was the melting pot. So at this wedding, the ex-girlfriend, they're just dancing together. And I'm just like, no, I've been here before.
Yeah.
I have been here.
Yeah.
Not today. Not today. So because this girl is a nice girl, she comes, she sits next to me and we're just really talking. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be very honest with you right now. I don't like the way that you are behaving around my boyfriend. She looked at me with the most shocked look on her face. She was like, firstly, I think, because that was the first time I think she'd ever heard me confront anybody. I'd just been this mousy person this whole time. And I think she was like, whoa, you can talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, your boyfriend? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, I've been having so many conversations with this person. And I'm like, you know what? The way that she behaves, it's as if you guys are still in a relationship, but you are saying that you guys are broken up. And I'm like, he said, what? She's like, yeah, this has been going on for like, I would say maybe 6 to 8 months or so that he's been telling us all that you guys are broken up. And I'm like, repeat that.
What?
And I'm like, what? And then she gets up because she just doesn't. Yeah, she's like, no, I don't have 5 minutes. Let's do it now.
Wow.
She gets up. She goes to him and she's like, what the actual hell?
And this is at a wedding.
Yeah.
Ooh,
this is at the in the evening when everyone is just dancing. The wedding is done, you know.
Yeah.
And she gets up and she's like, so your girlfriend over there says you guys are still together. And then he's like, oh, you know her. She's mad. She's just so desperate to be with me.
Oh.
And I'm like, desperate to be with who? So anyway, she and her sister are like, they're like, we don't mind confrontation. So they drag him over. And he was like, nope, I am not doing this. He does a beeline for his hotel room.
Not today.
Yeah, he does a beeline for his hotel room. And we all follow him.
When you say all, this is you, that girl,
ex-girlfriend, her sister, and some other girl. They sang quite a lot together, and she did a lot of solos. So and he played keyboard. They sang quite a lot of solos and stuff together. She was like, hey, I need to be part of this drama. Anyway, she came along. We were all there, and they were like, so are you guys together? And he would not answer the question. And I'm like, as far as I'm aware, we are together. And then he's like, no, she's crazy, blah, blah, blah. And then the sister looks at me like, yeah, but you know, we don't have any evidence that you guys are together. Maybe he's telling the truth. Maybe you're just crazy and desperate to be with him. And I'm like, okay, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, you want the logbook? Let me give you the V11s, the V5, the V11. Which one do you want? So I bring out my phone. I'm like, last weekend, these pictures are with who? And where was I? Okay, scroll. This other weekend, these pictures are with who? And where was I? Okay, scroll. And some more, and some. And I have thousands and thousands of pictures on my phone. Generally, I'm a person that loves to take pictures. Yeah. So there's all of this. And she was like, oh. And I'm like, yeah. And why would I be at his brother's wedding?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, makes sense.
Because I have no family links to him. There is nothing. The only person that is linked to his family is me.
Yeah.
Why would I be here if me and him have broken up?
Yeah, true.
Like, what the hell?
Exactly,
what is this? And they were like, no, he's just been making it seem like, you're just a really fragile person. You need that support. You're not really taking the breakup well. He needs
Oh
to
my
kind of lay you
God.
down gently and stuff. I'm like,
Oh, wow. Letting you down gently,
yeah. Gently for however long it was, nearly a year that he'd been telling people that we're broken up. So then, just to add the drama to the drama that's in that pot, and this other friend who was like, I need to come and see what's going on here, who saw everyone stand up and go and was like, oh, something's going down. I must follow. So she asked and she's like, so you guys are actually still together? And I'm like, okay, and this one, where are you coming from? And then what's your part in this?
Yeah.
My girl is like, me and him have been sleeping together for the past, like, I don't know how many months. I'm like, Jesus Christu. Jesus Christu.
Wow. And what were they sleeping together as fuck buddies?
Yeah, for them, she was just like, yeah, he's single. I'm single. I'm just like, yeah, let's do this.
Lord have mercy.
And I'm just like, okay. At that point, I just burst into tears.
Yeah.
And then, like, the girls are like, no, don't cry, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, see, this is why I can't talk to her. Every time we talk about something, she starts crying. And they were all like, whoa, you realize what you've just done right now, right? And then you're expecting her not to show any emotion whatsoever. What the hell is this? So yeah, that's another pattern that had been in our relationship. Whenever I cried, he'd be like, I can't talk to you. You cry. What am I supposed to do? You're playing the emotion card. I can't talk to you. And he'd walk off.
What an asshole. That's what I've been dying to say the whole time. Now I can qualify that expression. What an asshole.
Yeah. So that was the melting pot. And I had, I was staying at the hotel that night. So I just exited calmly. I remembered who I was, the calm person. I'm like, you shall not rattle me. You will not turn me into this drama queen. I just walked out of the room, went to my hotel room. I slept, got up in the morning, got into my car, did not say bye to anybody, and I left.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, you will not reduce me to this. You will not.
That is incredible. So you've left the room. He still has to deal with this fuck buddy woman of his. He still has to deal with the ex. And he also has to deal with, the other person was there just to support and like back up.
Yeah.
How did he deal with those other two? Do you know?
Do you know what? I had a conversation with her. So the ex-girlfriend found my number, called me, and she's like, oh, we had this long conversation with him. He just kept denying it, but obviously we know he's a liar and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you know what? We're sorry we believed all of the stuff that he was saying to us. And we're really sorry for our part in terms of, he was talking to her about getting back in a relationship with her. And she's like, I'm really sorry for my part in ruining your relationship and stuff. And I'm like, well, you didn't ruin my relationship. He did.
Yeah, and she was none the wiser, to be honest.
Yeah. But she was just like, no, I'm really sorry for my part. And, I wish you all the best. And I'm like, yeah, thanks.
But you know what's funny? In situations like that, one of those two girls stayed doing something with him. I wouldn't be surprised because that's the nature of the beast. That's what normally happens in these situations.
I wouldn't be surprised because they were still, I mean, now I've got no idea. I just deleted, blocked on all social media. Yeah. I've got no idea what's going on. But for a while before I blocked and deleted, I mean, the story still continues because there's a whole other nonsense further down. But yeah, time-wise.
So what there's more stuff?
Yeah, there's more stuff in terms of him trying to contact me and, the final time that I was like, you know what, he would call. So I moved out of that area that I was in when I finished, and I I finished uni, got a job, and moved out of that area.
Did you move away because of him?
No. Okay. I moved away because I got a job somewhere outside of London. And my goal in general was I need to be out of London. I only moved to London for uni.
Yeah.
And then I was like, nope, I need to be out of this drama. This is where I had both the dramatic relationships. I was just like, nope, this is a mad city. Do not want anything to do with it.
Like it's Babylon.
Yes. Yeah. So I moved out of that area, but then he decided to start calling to say, you know what, I really messed up, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? So I was like, you know what, let's see if he'll ever tell the truth. And I was like, be honest with me. We can work on things if you're honest. That's where things, you can start building from. At first, he denied it. I was like, no, this is the thing. We had the conversations with these girls. They were there. You didn't deny it, but now you're denying it. We're just going back into that rut. For me, I don't want to go back there.
Yeah.
And then eventually he was like, yeah, no, there were things happening. And I'm like, okay, with who? At first, he just mentioned those in the room. And I was like, okay, is that it? He was like, oh, no. And the other boy, remember the other girl, the prayer meeting, the Bible study one with the pictures and stuff.
Yes, and they're under one blanket in a corner.
Yeah. The one in Leeds. The one, there was a whole host of them. There was a whole host of them. And I was like, okay, thank you very much for your honesty. Goodbye. And he was like, no, but you said. And I was like, oh, yeah, I said, I do not want anything to do with you.
You played him. You played the boy. Play the player.
I was just like, you think you're the only one that can, say things to get people to do things and then, do the absolute opposite. You are not.
What a damn shame.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? The good thing is you're out of this. I know it hasn't been that long since you left this relationship, but you really sound like you're in a good space.
You know what? It feels like it's been forever because the last time I spoke to him was like 17? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But what I really like as well, and this is something I was going to talk about earlier, was how your fighting voice eventually came out. And because you'd had a previous experience, you understood what it would do if you didn't say something.
Yeah.
So you did say something, and then it turns out it relieved you emotionally because then you found out the truth. Something you'd have never known. You obviously had your suspicions because he wanted you to keep everything super private.
Yeah.
And yet he was okay putting other women on social media, etc. So, your radar was already on high alert.
Yeah. Yeah.
For any type of wahala. So when it eventually came out, it really didn't come out as a surprise per se.
No.
But thanks for sharing this, Bola.
Pleasure.
That was a lot to stomach. And I hate to say this, but the last few episodes have all been related to church boys.
In a way, I can see that.
I'm serious.
Now I married a guy who is not a church guy, and this is the most perfect relationship I have been in. The drama was all with church guys.
I really shouldn't express my views about church people because would be here for hours on end. But
you know what? Church is a hospital. You go there because you are broken.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, you should be at a hospital. You shouldn't go there to stay, right?
Yeah.
You should go there to get better. But hey, that's conversation for another day.
Just be careful that whoever is doing the surgery in that hospital doesn't leave their tweezers and whatever inside your body to get you back in and do some more damage.
Yeah.
All I would say, man, if you're involved with church people, they're great. Just deal with them with one eye open.
Yeah.
When you go to bed, make sure you go to bed with one eye open. Not that because you're looking out for the devil. Yeah, you are just no. Let's not get into that. So just to play back the lessons, first one up. Take note of the consistencies and inconsistencies because they could tell you a lot about the relationship. And I think we could see how he was starting to roll. And for both of you, when you were not consistent about holding your values, that was already starting to show that there's cracks in this relationship that might be problematic.
Yeah.
Lesson number 2, patterns speak louder than words. This couldn't be any more real. His pattern of constant fighting, no, let's not do this, pretending like he's not really into sex, but he was busy screwing some other woman for some time. Yeah, patterns speak louder than
other
words.
Women.
Yeah, yes, other women. Yes, it's said right, Tinto, other women. And then last but not least, know what you want and who you are and don't compromise on that. And I like one thing that you said earlier on when you were talking. You said, you've now grown and you now understand yourself better.
Yeah.
That is what this is really talking about. I think it's about personal growth, taking a couple of steps back, reviewing and reflecting on what has happened, what it has made you, and really getting to understand who you are before you can move forward and give the best version of yourself.
Absolutely.
Well, you've been listening to another episode of The Feeling Station. I'm your host, Tinto, and I look forward to catching you in next weekend's episode. Peace.
Tell me what you're feeling.
Sati zandaro rwaini handichageza ini.
Tell me what you're feeling now that it's over.
Sati zandaro rwaini handichageza ini.
Let me talk about my feelings. Let me talk about my feelings, yeah.
Rudo imoto runoto kuchidziro amai.
Kuchidziro amai. Love is a fire.
Rudo imoto runoto kuchidziro amai.